Hey everyone, this is the Trader Investor. Happy Friday, last trading day of the week. And today I'm going to talk about the markets, what I'm expecting, and what some of the actions could be waiting for us as we close out the week. Yesterday I only made one video. I got a little busy and distracted with other work and family stuff, and I apologize for that, but I will also include some of that analysis from yesterday. So if we start with that maybe real quick. Yesterday we had a very good day, and how I looked at the trade was I had shown you there are some headwinds. I want to take care of those headwinds as I enter positions, and therefore how I entered them is always in line with that. So yesterday in the 15-minute range, we saw that markets were pushing up. They were pushing up, they didn't want to look down. However, there were a couple of things that I was looking at. And I was looking at potential areas of trouble as we were entering each position. So that's what I was looking at. And I have this hourly trend line that I was looking at. I have this daily trend line that I was looking at. And when we're starting to make a triangle, that's a good sign that we could bounce out of that triangle and resume the direction, whether it's up or down. So in the SPYs were really clear that they wanted to keep going up. However, this trend line was a headwind, this trend line was a headwind. So I was not in any rush to enter. Even after it broke that, then the Tuesday 15-minute range, low, mid, high became headwinds. And look at what price is doing. It stalls at the low, it goes there and stops. Of course, it continued the next bar, and it goes to the mid and stops, and it continues, and then it stops dead at the high. If you look at the high, that's where we stopped. We pierced through it, but we stopped and reversed. But the VWAP was a good support, so we made railroad tracks, so it was a good entry because we've already negotiated them. Now, I did not take this entry, and I'll show you why. Because the Qs were the most beautiful yesterday. Why? Because there was no headwind. The headwind of the previous day range, way out of the way. The headwind of Tuesday, we've already broken that in the first 15 minutes. So as soon as we break the 15-minute range high, I was comfortable to enter. Of course, there was a little bit of a headwind in terms of the highs of last week, Friday. So these were something to look at. I did enter the position before negotiating that because I have started to see some strong momentum, and I was willing to take that risk and enter the position. It gave us a little bit of playing around. When you were looking at the 15-minute bar, just kept going up and down until it got to clear this. Once it cleared that, it was a beautiful, beautiful day, and price just kept going up. It gave us a re-entry when price came down, but for me, a good re-entry is pin bar or railroad tracks like you see here at VWAP or at the 15-minute range high or the mid, because that's not an area of value where it gave me this railroad tracks. I did not re-enter. I was happy with this entry, $1.87 to $2.25 to $2.45 to $2.85. Those were my exits. That was a pretty good day. Then therefore I did not want to force a re-entry. I could have used the SPYs as a re-entry because they tested VWAP. They broke out of area of value, this trend line, came down, retested that trend line. This is how you trade a breakout. You wait for the manipulation to happen, you wait for the breakout, and a retest of that breakout, this is what it gave you, and the SPYs were the best to enter. And I took a stock position, as you can see from these arrows. I took a stock position here and got out here, because once we make the dollar move, you have your 50% exit, and then you tighten your stop, and I still exited, you know, the other 50% at a profit. So this was how I entered this position as a stock, but you know, just to show you some variation, but it was not really necessary. I usually do options. But area of value, you got railroad tracks. You've already broken out of a trend line. This was a beautiful entry. But in the Qs, we have the beautiful entry at the beginning, but I did not get an area of value. If you're not at an area of value, candlestick pattern means nothing to me. We want to be at an area of value. IWM was not having a fun day. It just kept playing around at the high of the previous day, 15-minute range. It broke out, but it struggled. And the thing is, 218.38 to 219.07, not a dollar move, right? So because this was the first headwind that we were negotiating, so it struggled there, you could have entered at the second try, but still not enough for me, because this distance is not clear, and it just kept struggling. Toward the end of the day, it kind of pushed through. But because we didn't test the low of Monday, there was no entry for me, because I want to see push, struggle, re-push, enter. So this is the first time we had a push. I didn't see a struggle and to re-push, and we went as high as the mid-range, and it stopped right there. So IWM, not a solid entry. Diamonds, similar to SPYs, there was this trend line, and then there was this 15-minute range low of Tuesday to look at. So it was solid. I mean, if you said, hey, at the break of the 15-minute range, 340.21 to about 341.56, but where it stalled was at 341.38. So it did give you that dollar move. You could have taken it. It would have been valid. There was nothing wrong with that. But the low and the close of Tuesday was a headwind. So when you look at that headwind, 340.86 from 340.19, not enough of a move. That's why I preferred the Qs. Railroad tracks, right at the area of value, not only the trend line, but also VWAP, beautiful entry. You have a $341.56 to 342.76. You have that dollar move, beautiful entry. You could have taken that as well. So this is how the markets ended. So I just wanted to take care of that video. Now, looking at this morning, what are we going to look at? So quickly taking a look at ES. So the ES kept pushing price up, So $15 is not a whole lot, but it is still positive, because we've had a strong day yesterday and we're continuing that uptrend. Today is weekly expiration, so we will see what that happens. It's not a significant expiration date, it's just a regular weekly expiration, but we'll see what they want to do. But if you look across the board, everything is in an uptrend. Now, looking at futures, 47 NQ is not a huge number, but it is still significant. It's an up day. So how are we going to trade them today? In the SPYs, I like the SPYs very well. So the pre-market is near the high here. So I want to see this broken in the SPYs. So I would like the 15-minute range to be something like this, or even up here. and then once we break out of this, this is our next stop. So very clean in the SPYs. 422 area is where we want to go. And if you look at the last week Monday 15-minute range, so you have that to contend with. You have that, the high, the mid, and the low. Take a look at that, and you have this move to the upside. In the Qs, what I'm looking for in the Qs is we are near the high of yesterday. I'm expecting, because that's again last week Monday's 15-minute range low. Remember, these 15-minute ranges are important support resistance for me. So what I'm looking for in the Qs is to close this imbalance. And the high of last week is this green dotted lines that you see. So I'm expecting to close this imbalance, and to close that imbalance from 329 to 332, there's a good distance, but we have this headwind. So I'm not so sure yet what I want to do with this headwind. What I mean not so sure yet is I want to see price go rejected, good push up to the next level, rejected, push up to the next level, rejected, push up. Then we have more headroom to keep driving up. So I might just take it easy today because of these potential headwinds, and not rush into trades until they're manipulated. IWM was the weakest yesterday, but look where it's at today. IWM should be leading us. And now IWM, if it gives us a range here, which is the high of Tuesday, and this is where the price is at. If we get a 15-minute range somewhere here, our stop is this highs of Tuesday and that previous imbalance, which it's not an imbalance now. I just need to delete it, but this highs is our first stop, and then this is our second stop, and this order block all the way to the mid of last week Monday is our third stop. And what is our distance if we get that? If we get that all the way $1.30, $2.29, and if we go all the way up, $3.35. So we do have plenty of room in the IWM. That's what I'm going to look at. Now to the downside, I haven't talked about to the downside because we are having a strong bullish day to the downside. Let's look at, in the SPYs, I'm not going to be in a rush to enter because the downside, this trend line is an area of value. So I want to see that either collapse and go to close this imbalance. In the Qs, the downside, we're playing up here. So the highs and the lows, the mid of the 15-minute range of yesterday, and the mid, which kind of coincides with Tuesday. I want to see those negotiated if we're going to come and close this imbalance. So because we have some, headwind, 326.61 to 325.24, 323.93, about $1 space in each. So because of that, I will see. Again, not something that I am too excited about. So to the downside, that's where we're looking at now. In IWM, because we're about to open really strong, the downside is going to be quite challenging because the downside, again, the high of yesterday, this 15-minute range is what we were fighting against. Diamonds, again, headwinds, not too far away. We have headwinds. We're opening near our close. We're starting to get there. So to the downside, what is our downside? 342 area. I don't know where the 15-minute range close, because that's what tells us, do we have enough room of a dollar move to this trend line and to this 15-minute range high do we have that dollar move. 340.20, but where are we coming from? Anywhere we come from here is not enough space to enter. So the downside, I'm waiting unless we have a big collapse day, right? Kind of day. I'm not rushing to enter positions. Distance wise, even if we have that, I need this distance here, $1.40, which is good, 220, 275, and all the way to this imbalance $4. I'm not expecting that today. That's not what the markets are showing us. So it might be a no trade day for me, or it might be one where I am extremely cautious and looking at possible double tops. Double tops, if I show you an example here, if we get something like triple bottoms like this, every 15-minute bar failing, where this was a very significant area of value, it was the negative 27.8% retracement, keep failing there, I will take a position like that inside the 15-minute range. If I see price fails to make a high, I will take a position because there's enough distance between my entry and the VWAP and the 15-minute range high. If I see something like that, I will take it. Here in this instance, there was no double top, there was no entry here, but when we failed to make a high, this was not an entry because of this distance. So this entry to VWAP was exactly about $1, so that's not something that I'm comfortable with. And for me to take a reversal on a double top, double bottom, triple bottom, my preference is that VWAP be inside the 15-minute range. Once it has broken out of that 15-minute range, then it's a very, very strong uptrend, and I don't want to fight that strong uptrend. To the downside, same thing, very strong downtrend, I don't want to fight that downtrend. So I'm going to look for that kind of opportunity. Double top, if it 2 minute might make it clearer to see and understand what I'm talking about by double top, double bottom, or lower high, higher low. If you look at it this way, on Tuesday, we started up here, we failed to make a high, we failed to make another high, then you enter knowing that this was a potential headwind, so knowing that this is a potential headwind, and then we failed to make a lower low, we made double bottoms, knowing that VWAP could be a headwind, you can enter this position, and then up here a high, failed to make a high, there was a significant news, 15-minute range high, VWAP far away, boom, we can enter those positions. So I'm going to look for something like that. Outside of that, the break of the 15-minute range is not an entry for me for today, because where all of them are sitting, that 15-minute range break is not something I'm comfortable with, because we have headwinds. Headwinds meaning I'm going to look back at a couple of weeks, headwinds with 15-minute ranges. Now in the SPYs, headwind from here to the low of last week Monday, to the low of the 15-minute range of the previous week Friday. Those are some of the areas I'm looking at. So that gives me about $1.70. So if we clear this area, then I'm okay I'm okay entering a position. If our 50-minute range clears this area and then comes back, if it does this, comes back, retests it, then I can enter because I have enough distance from here to here. I have enough distance from here to here, like more than $1. So I can enter those positions. So this is how I'm looking at the market today. This is how they are setting up. One more thing I will show you, economic data. There is nothing today. It's already past any kind of news. The next news that's coming up is not that significant. News that has already come out in Canada, not that significant for us. In the US, nothing significant. Significant meaning if there's something red. Orange, it's not that moving, so there's nothing red in the economic data, so we can trade without fear. This is what I wanted to share with you today. Let's make some green, or let's protect our greens that we made yesterday or this week because we had a good week. Let's just be protective of that. All right, everyone, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.